Okay, so here we are. We're going to be drawing this table here. This is actually a shaker table from the early 1800s. It looks very modern, but it's not. These are what we call dovetail joints. And so it's got a drawer on the bottom, and it's got this back surface to keep things from falling off the back. So what I'm going to do is, this obviously has vanishing points that are really far away, but I'm going to just try to replicate this on my paper here. So what I've done, because I know I'm looking down on this, I know that this table falls below my horizon line. And so I'm going to just draw a table similar to this. I'm just going to kind of doodle this in perspective, but using these vanishing points. So just making this fit in here, started my vanishing point here. Um, I've made my rectangle of my surface, starting with the surface. So I've given it a little depth here. So it's obviously going to be bigger up front than it is in the back. And again, going to my vanishing points as best I can here. All right, and so now I need to draw this below. It looks like the legs actually stick out a little bit. So I'm going to just bring my legs in a little bit. One thing that you might not be aware of, and I'm going to introduce something additional thing for you. These legs actually have another vanishing point. So I want you to imagine your belly button is the third vanishing point. I'm just going to, it's not going to be a hard line here, but I'm just going to bring these in a little bit. So if you notice, my ruler then is going to kind of come towards my belly. All right. It doesn't have to be precise, but the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring these legs in a little bit. They just come in a tad from the surface. So I'll just bring them in. And again, I'm going to just draw a line kind of to my belly button. So this one, we essentially have three vanishing points, right? We've got these two here and then one in the center. And this actually probably wants to be a little bit more. So just kind of my belly. You don't want to have it too sharp, otherwise it gets distorted, right? But we got something like that. All right, so then the other thing, if I look at this, the leg actually tapers. So it's smaller on the bottom than it is on the top. So it's four-sided. So let's just make the front side of this, all right, something like this. Let's make one on the front. So it's going to probably be behind the work surface a little bit, something like that. So again, going to my belly. All right, something like that. So that's where it comes on the bottom. Now let's define this here. The bottom of my legs, it's going to be something like this. And it's going to do something like this. Now, the reason why we're doing this, everybody, is because you're going to be designing a table, and I want you to be able to design and draw and doodle in 3D. So that's what when you're coming up with your table concepts, I want you to be sketching this in kind of a 3D as much as you can, because it'll help you get a better sense of what your table actually is going to look like. So what you'd want to do is come up with some sort of market and then start this process. All right. So then again, this table tapers down a little bit. So it's coming to a point here, a little bit smaller on the bottom, something like that. Same thing on this back side. It's tapering a little bit. And then it's got a leg. I don't really see the leg, but there it is. All right. And then actually the leg is going all the way to the back. I'd see the back part of that leg too. Hard to see. So minor there. It's probably barely even noticeable. So just be aware that there's going to be a leg there. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I've kind of basically got the legs, but I need to make this little skirt underneath where the drawer is. So I'm just going to arbitrarily pick a point down here and draw that. All right. And then come back here. All right. Nothing the matter with erasing. Okay, and then there's a drawer in the center of this. So the easiest way to find where that drawer is actually is to go from corner to corner. That'll tell me where the center is of that. And so if it's actually, that looks a little far. I'm not sure if I did that right, but this is telling me the center of the drawer is right about here. So I'm going to draw a drawer inside of there. And it's always going to be bigger leading into it. So from the beginning to the center, should it be a little bit bigger? All right, so then pretty cool so far. So then what I need to do is draw this back piece here that comes up. So I'm going to extend up. And then I want to keep that little perspective to my belly going a little bit here. So it's going to look like this. And then I have no idea the size of this. I'm just doing what I feel is comfortable. All right. Something like that. Give it a little bit of depth. I probably want to do it. All right, and then it's got these like boxes that come in a little bit. So I'm going to draw the drawers. And because this is all in perspective, it does most of the work for me. So this is going to be the bottom of these drawers, something like this. And then the height, I'm just going to eyeball it. It's not all the way up there. It's probably something like this. Go back. So everything's going to the vanishing point. The only thing different is I have a vanishing point kind of at my belly for things that are coming down. Don't make fun of my belly. All right. So then again, I'm going to find the center here, corner to corner. Should tell me where the center of this is. All right. I feel like it's too far to the right, but that's where it's telling me. All right. And I'm just kind of eyeballing all this and back. All right. I will stop in a minute and answer any questions. But I think I've got basically most of this laid out here. I can darken this up, but that's essentially my table. So what I would do here then, and what you should always do is typically you would then take this and add markers and color, but it is in these kind of drawings very helpful to kind of go around the outside and just darken everything up real quick. As Michelle did earlier, a shadow can be very helpful too, but let's just deal with the doodle. So I would go around the outside of this, all the lines, and just darken up where they meet the other surfaces. So I wouldn't necessarily go all the way up, just try to darken this up a bit just to make it pop. All right. So typically people would use a pencil with a different lead, but this is what we're doing is fine. We're just trying to get a concept out there. So what I've done in this desk is we've taken a Shaker. Shaker was a German community and they did not believe in modern tools. So everything was done by hand. That's why the shapes, I don't want to say are simplistic, but they're very boxy, but they're very ideal for CAD modeling because, it's just basically making rectangles and extruding them because they actually had to physically make all of this. So what I'm doing now is I'm just kind of going back in. I'm just going to darken up the outside of this just to give this, so it kind of pops out a bit. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. if you draw in a perspective, your eye is extremely forgiving about things that don't necessarily line up. But if you're just trying to come up with concepts of things, it's a pretty good way to get yourself started here, right? So obviously this leg in front of me is going to be bigger than the one behind it. We're not adding color here. You're certainly welcome to do so, but these kind of things are very helpful as when you're just starting out your design process and all that. So I just want to make sure I have all the lines drawn, and then I'm going to stop all this. All right. So I could then come in here, and if I wanted to draw the drawer where it pulls out from the center, I would just figure out where the center of the pull would go. I would make a line coming out from that point to my vanishing point. Do the same on the other side. Find the center, and then where the pull comes out would be to that vanishing point. And then I don't have to measure it. I could just kind of doodle this, just make sure I'm on the right axis. All right, looks good. Then I could just make whatever kind of pull I wanted. Same thing on the bottom one. I felt like this was too far back though, but all right, so things like that. And then, you could put details and such, but that's really what we're doing today is just sketches. So if you were designing a new table, we're not looking to get much more beyond this, just kind of the overall concept of what you're, so this would be unique in that you're drawing it, you have a table with some shelves on top of it with this little back area, right? So I think that's all we got to do. I'm not going to draw shadows at this point, just kind of lay this thing out so that we could then take it and add some things. So I'm just going to darken some of these lines, make this feel like I got a good place to start. Okay, so let's stop the recording.